Luna 6th query. Set the source to the translation logs of Princess Amara Aurelin. Consider it done. Luna 6th query. Now tell me about Amara's first talk with the Queen after her unadvised joining of the Arisian crew in the human reconnaissance operation. Asterisk. Asterisk asterisk. Amara was sitting on an ordinary stool she had found lying around in the room that had been previously prepared for the human guests. On top of the brand new piece of furniture full of drawers with an unusual handle that had been prepared specifically for the humans, there was a heavy backpack that the other humans carried all the way to this room. The lack of eyes watching her led her mind to entertain the possibility of opening the backpack to inspect what kind of possessions the humans had brought with them to her planet. But of course, she wouldn't actually do that. Unlike the owner of this backpack, she had the sound judgment of not letting her curiosity get the better of her on a whim. Or at least she hoped she had, as she remembered how she had stolen the syringe with the clear fluid that after only a few drops in her eyes had given her the ability to understand the words spoken by the humans. Looking back, she couldn't tell which one was scarier. The translator provided by the Core Galaxy Alliance, a grain of sand that when injected in any species would grow roots like a tree connecting to many places on the user's brain. Or the translator provided by the humans, a syringe full of transparent liquid that looked like nothing at all to the naked eye. Amara forced her train of thought to return to the present, since questioning the decisions she had already made wouldn't help at all with her current pediment. There was a poisoned human in the bed in front of her. If he died, the plan she had meticulously put together would crumble into pieces. In case that happened, she had no doubt she would be the one taking the fall, even though all the elders supported her idea when Aldrinch explained what they could gain if it succeeded. Why did he have to be so stupid to the point of almost getting himself killed, even before leaving the ship and hearing the warnings they had prepared for the humans? Amara could help but question if she and the others might have underestimated the level of danger of the plains near the Ebon Range, which they decided to use as a base of operations for the duration of the humans' stay on the planet. Maybe the original plan of taking them to one of the underground cities first and giving them some time for getting used to the planet would have been a better course of action. Seeing the unusually pale skin of Nathan, who was laying motionlessly in his bed, she felt a pang of guilt for his current state. It was her who was responsible for the change of plans, and it was her who had failed to consider the possibility of him touching something when he said he would take a look at the flowers after all. If only those other two were not demanding all of her attention at the time. But at least their argument ended after the incident, and they stayed with Nathan in silence until they had to leave to get their equipment from the first shipment sent from the space station. "May I come in, Princess?" Yalara's voice came from outside of the room. "You don't need to ask for permission, Yalara. This is not my room." Amara spoke with a low voice, even though she doubted Nathan would wake up so soon. "And don't call me Princess in here. There is no good reason to let the humans know who I am." "I'm sorry. Amara, it's hard getting used to it." Yalara opened the door and mimicked Amara's low voice without being asked to. "Why are you still looking like this?" Amara noticed that even now, hours after they had landed on the surface, Yalara still had maintained her skin color in that oddly specific, boring single color that was aesthetically pleasing to a human. It was weird that she chose to look like that when there were just the two of them. Unless... "Oh, I know why. Is this what you do to me when I refuse to talk to you, Mother? That is too low even for you." Amara reached for the bag that she had left on the ground with the tip of her tail and retrieved a pair of AR visors that she promptly transferred to her hands and then to her face without delay. With just a short sequence of commands, using the tip of her claws to interact with the interface of the visor, she contacted Yalara and asked to join the ongoing call. Even before her hands had time to return to a resting position, the virtual image of the Queen appeared at the center of the room as if her mother had suddenly materialized there out of nowhere. A mother can't worry about her daughter anymore? Queen Carla was wearing her usual partially transparent clothes. The thin and delicate fabric of her top highlighted the indigo blue, full of mesmerizing black spots that seemed to have a life of their own. It was the neutral expression of those of royal blood. Today has been a most eventful day for you, has it not? It is only natural that my interest is piqued. As if you don't know everything already. Yalara was left out of the conversation, as if she didn't exist while Amara kept sitting, which no one else besides herself would dare to do in the presence of the queen. You and I both understand that our connection does not bear such intimacy. I am baffled as to why you persist in feigning otherwise. It deeply saddens me that you regard me in such a cold way. Noticing that her mother had deliberately added a tone of grey to her skin to appear sincerer, Amara only felt anger remembering all the times she had fallen for that. But today, you will listen to what I have to say, and even if you choose to disregard me as your mother, it remains your duty to heed my words as your queen. If you want to remind me of how my carelessness has almost doomed our planet, then do it. But in case your intention is to make me reconsider the plan, you are wasting your time. Just like Aldrinch used to do with her, she tried to take control of the conversation by inferring her mother's intentions. The subtle yellow in the queen's exterior let Amara know she had failed to read her mother's intentions. Oh, but you are mistaken, my dear. Amara was not sure why her mother deemed it safe to talk of such topics right in front of an unconscious human, but knowing that the queen was much better informed than herself in those matters, she dismissed her concerns. My reason for contacting you is to congratulate you on the success of your scheme. Yalara's exterior was instantly filled with purple dots. The extended period of time she had kept a human appearance had taken a toll on her ability to hide her emotions. That's why you called me, mother? To mock me? Unlike Yalara, Amara remained indifferent. I would never do that to my own daughter. I meant every word I said. Today's incident will not only sell the idea that this planet is a deadly place, but it also will prove that humans can in fact survive here. Don't forget that in spite of the best efforts of our ancestors, some information on the predatory plants of Irisa made their way into the hands of the senators and have been used against us every single time we brought up the topic of saving our planet. Amara tried to find some implicit meaning in her mother's words, without success. She doubted her mother would have called her just to say that, but since the queen was just stating facts, she would have to play along until she revealed her true intentions. But he has almost died. I don't see how we can prevent our enemies from portraying this planet as an awful place that not even other Deathworlders can survive in it. They will do everything in their power to shift the focus of the discussion away from his survival. You speak reason, but don't forget that this is our home, and we have hidden eyes and ears everywhere. We will make sure that along with the report of the human surviving the miasma of the Maraben flower, there will also be many files attached showing what its poison can do against other living beings. Queen Carla alternated her gaze between Yalara and Amara, only for her virtual eyes to become transfixed at the unconscious Nathan at the end. How do you think the senators will react when they see that a puny human has survived a poison that can kill even an adult oxoil? The Queen's perspective shed light on the ramifications of Nathan's survival, leading Amara to a profound realization that this was not a trivial accomplishment. Yalara, who until now had avoided getting herself involved with their discussion, took the opportunity to approach Nathan's bed and join the conversation. It's hard to believe that such a clawless and harmless-looking being can survive the poison of a group of Maribane flowers. With how much he inhaled, I doubt any of us would have survived long enough to receive the antidote. It's even more impressive when you consider he lasted long enough for the tiny machines in his body to find an antidote that would be effective for his physiology. Amara stood up and got closer to Yalara. If only the humans would agree to sell us such technology, Just imagine how much we would be able to accomplish. The projected body of Queen Kala got closer to Yalara, and her intangible hands were placed over her left shoulder. In reference to that matter, pray tell, what progress have you made in your dealings with the other human male, Yalara? Amara could literally see the regret Yalara felt for having joined the conversation. There have been some impediments, my queen, but I assure you I can adjust to his preferences with enough time. As the only delegate I nominated personally, do you understand how your poor performance reflects on my reputation when even Amara, who was not even trying, did a better job than you? My queen, I'm not trying to justify my failure, but the human I've been assigned to is the worst. Yalara kept her head lowered as she spoke. He has shown no interest at all in our planet, in our culture, or in myself. Every attempt of having a conversation with him was met with a single-word reply at best. Her worry for Nathan and the repercussion his death would have caused to all of her people kept Amara from reflecting on everything that happened on that awful day. But Yalara's mention of Ryo's lack of interest in their society brought back the memories from before the poison accident had ended the human competition for being the first to touch the surface. Yalara is not to blame for anything, Mother. She is doing her best, considering the disgraceful request you made from her. Amara couldn't stand the way her mother would disregard the feelings of her subjects just because a few of her advisors think the humans might be susceptible to this kind of ploy. The humans are harder to deal with than what we anticipated. The exaggerated importance they gave to who would be the first to set foot on our world was already expected, but not that they would disregard us completely and make light of our efforts to be friendly. It was truly frustrating the way that Rio and Zara were acting before the accident. Their disrespecting behavior and endless arguing as they descended ruined any chance the recordings of that unique moment could be used to give the people from Irisa some rare piece of happy news to counteract the many consecutive harvests of collective desolation. Failing to perform one's duty after being directly ordered by your queen is a great crime that would be punished with pain, imprisonment, or even death if we follow the ways of the old. Queen Kala purposely waited for the many spots of dark purple to manifest on Yalara's exterior before she went on. However, as you remain oblivious to a matter of great importance concerning the humans, I shall graciously overlook your failure on this occasion. Amara had witnessed this repetitive pattern of intentionally instilling fear in her servants, only to subsequently present herself as a benevolent and forgiving queen. It would occur so frequently that she had grown an intense aversion to it. Which matter of great importance are you referring to, Mother? Amara refrained from highlighting the annoyance and unnecessary nature of her mother's constant need to assert her power as queen in every conversation. She did that because she discerned in Yalara's eyes a strong desire for the conversation with the queen to conclude promptly. A spying device was found on our side, on the space station. We are certain it took advantage of the mutual pact of not using encryption inside the station and tampered with the orders of the 3 human delegates right before they were out of range of communication. Her mother's nonchalant tone didn't keep Amara from needing all her willpower to avoid losing control of her exterior due to the implications of those words. This is a catastrophe. How you are telling me this only now? She was not sure exactly how much time have passed since they have landed, but she could see that it was already dark outside. Don't dare complain about that after refusing all contact coming from me. Queen Kala didn't hide a tone of orange forming around her black spots. But you, Yalara, and Zenvala don't need to worry about the device interfering with the mission anymore. The workers of the station took care of it already. Amara almost felt guilty for repeatedly ignoring her mother earlier. But who could guess that a crisis of the same level of importance as a human dying on Irisa would be happening at the same time? Are the humans aware of the device? She knew that it was not viable to keep a secret like that, and the elders wouldn't approve an act that could easily cause strife with the only ones who had a chance of helping their species. They have been informed soon after the landing. It's a shame that we had to let the humans know that we have some factions that might be hostile to them, but it was undoubtedly a wise decision since they disclosed to have long ago identified unusual radio emissions coming from our side of the station. Queen Carla's projected body distanced herself from Nathan's bed and took a contemplative stance at the center of the room. Yalara, you must know that the human you've been assigned to might not be as indifferent to us as you think. His original order was different from the one that was given. The device ordered him to do anything in his power to be the first to set foot on the surface and keep it a secret from the others. Amara couldn't believe her mother had returned the topic of the conversation to Yalara and Rio, while the way that Rio and the others had their orders tampered with was important and could be insightful into the process of finding out the motivations of the perpetrator. The Queen was using that information to keep pushing Yalara to do what she wanted, instead of focusing on what mattered. I understand, my Queen. I'll keep that in mind during my next interaction with him. Yalara's voice sounded tired. What has been done with the device, and what do the elders think of the motives for changing the orders of the humans? The importance of the situation was enough for Amara to avoid an argument with her mother, even though she didn't bother hiding her disapproval from showing on her skin. The device has been offered to the humans as an apology for the incident. Queen Carla threw a judgmental gaze at Amara. I should let you ask them yourself if you dislike talking to me that much, but since I'm a good mother, I'll tell you. The elders suspect that the goal might have been to instigate the human representatives into killing themselves and causing an irreversible diplomatic incident that would put an end to their presence on this planet. Before she had met them personally, she might have thought that a plan like this could work against the humans. Two of their factions were fighting a fierce war after all, but after spending some time with them, she never felt their argument, as annoying and disrespectful as it was, would culminate in someone losing their life. In the end, Nathan, who apparently didn't have his orders tampered with, was the one who almost died instead. Who among our own people would want to purposely direct the anger of the humans toward us? I can't see what anyone would gain by doing that. She was certain the Queen had already done an investigation. I'm fairly certain I found the culprit, but I can't tell you that right now. The human is about wake up. The Queen ended the call abruptly. Amara and Yalara exchanged a look of confusion as they checked the soundlessly sleeping human. He had his eyes closed, and nothing from his heartbeat to his breathing had changed from the last time they checked him. Amara wasn't completely convinced that her mother could tell exactly when Nathan would wake up from the other side of the world. Maybe she didn't like her question and just used that as an excuse to end the call. But either way, she promptly convinced herself to not get angry, as she would find the truth sooner or later. Yalara taped Nathan thrice with her tail to make sure he wasn't awake before turning her attention to Amara. I'm deeply sorry for entering the room with an ongoing call with your mother, Princess. The human-like color of Yalara's skin gave way to a tone of blue filled with several black spots. Her neutral expression was different from Amara's in its static nature, as opposed to the lifelike patterns of the princess. I know you didn't have a choice except to obey her, but that is not important. How are you feeling? Amara could barely imagine how hard it must have been for her to keep that human-like appearance all day, while under constant pressure from the Queen for her to establish a close relationship with Rio. I have a terrible headache, and my vision is blurry. Amara was not expecting this level of sincerity. It was a rare occurrence for people to forget about her status and talk their minds in her presence. If I had to keep that stupid skin color for 5 more minutes, I'm afraid I would have fainted. I'll try to talk to my mother later. It's not reasonable of her to expect you to always maintain that appearance during the mission. Amara believed she would be able to convince her mother to give up on that point, even though she doubted the Queen would be willing to abandon her shameful scheme. Yalara widened her eyes and wrapped her tail around her belly defensively. I'm flattered you're worried about my well-being, Princess, but I'm not Elisira. I choose to be part of this mission, and I'm prepared to do what I'm required. There it was, the usual insincere reaction she got every time she suggested anything slightly defiant to the Queen's wishes. She didn't blame Yalara for that attitude, but it was still sad to experience a glimpse of closeness and realness, only for her status to scare people from being truthful. If that's what you wish, I won't get involved. Amara didn't attempt to be more assertive in her offer of help. In her previous experiences, that only scared people away from her further. Yalara and herself didn't know each other for a long time, and their work relationship could not be called a friendship. So she changed the topic of the conversation to something she might be less defensive about. But if it's not asking too much, I still would like to hear what you truly think of the humans. Unlike you and Zainvala, I didn't have any meaningful interaction with them, so there is not much I can say. Yalara was avoiding eye contact as she spoke. You were there from the moment we first met them until the accident. I don't believe you don't have an opinion regarding their behavior or appearance. Amara had already heard her saying Ryo was the worst. It was highly unlikely that this was her only opinion. But this was a stressful day for all of us, so I understand if you don't want to talk. Yalara's tail remained wrapped around her belly, but she made eye contact. I thought this mission would be so easy when I was studying their culture and language, but now, after spending some time with them, I'm more confused than ever. One of them almost died from being too curious, while the other acted as if just talking to me is a waste of his time. It's like the three of them are each from a different species. Amara suppressed any happiness from showing for getting Yalara comfortable enough to open up with her. I feel the same, but we don't know how much of their behavior has been influenced by the tampering of their communication. She was keeping half of her attention on Nathan's heartbeat and breathing just in case. What about their appearance? Do you find them hideous like Elisira? That was a risky question to ask, but Amara was genuinely curious about how someone who willingly volunteered to do her mother's bidding saw the humans. I don't think they look hideous, just plain clumsy and boring. Yalara's directness was unexpected. What about you, Princess? Pardon my indiscretion, but the way you took Elisira's role without thinking twice spared some rumors among the select few that are aware of it. Amara was aware of the repercussion her decision of taking Elisira's place would entail, but only when hearing about it from someone else was it truly internalized. The stakes of this mission are too high for me to care about some rumors. My mother's insistence on having Elisira take part in this against her will could have been the spark of our doom if she broke down in front of the humans. Amara was one of the very few that could oppose the Queen without fear of punishment. Still, to answer your question, I mostly agree with you, but I think their eyes are beautiful. It's like they hide all the secrets of the universe inside of them. Yalara was about to say something when Nathan moved his hand slowly toward his face, which prompted her to approach Amara and whisper in her ear. I'm returning to my room, Princess. Now that he woke up, Ryo will be here soon, and I'm too tired to interact with him. Yalara left the room silently, while Amara watched Nathan rub both his eyes with the tips of his fingers, which caused her to feel quite uncomfortable imagining what would happen to her eyes if she did that with her claws. Harmful substance neutralized. Nathan's eyes opened at once, and instead of checking his surroundings, his eyeballs darted rapidly from one side to the other in seemingly random directions. After almost half a minute of Amara wondering if that was some kind of side effect of the poison or some involuntary reaction, he said, So, you are a Princess Hum? What was the thing about us having our communications tampered with that you and Yalara were discussing earlier? Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. This was an account of Amara's first talk with the Queen after her unadvised joining of the Arisian crew in the human reconnaissance operation. Here are some questions that might interest you based on your recent queries. How much Nathan knows about their conversation? Why did the Queen end the call? Who are the parents of the baby?